Any news on the baby or anything? Because it's still holding strong. Yeah.
It's not on this one.
Well, call the meeting order on February 20th. I want to welcome everyone here. We've got a good crowd tonight, and some of our meetings have been going a little long. Y'all may have heard, but there's restrooms right through here. There's a water fountain. If you need to go. We'll come back. We'll continue on. So, hey, Charlie. But anyway, if you would, join us in the time of prayer. Michael, do you mind offering prayer tonight?
Lord, thank you for this day that you've given us. We appreciate the warm weather. And Lord, we appreciate this time we've had to come together and fellowship with each other, and but more importantly, make decisions concerning the government of this county. Lord, we ask you for your guidance and wisdom, and we ask that everything that we do be that you see good in your sight. Just name bring it.
Thank you, Mike. If you would, stand and have a place to the flag. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Again, I want to thank everyone for coming tonight. Madam Secretary, if you would, call the roll, please.
One silence to phone before tomorrow. Squire Stone.
Here.
Squire Ferris.
Here.
Squire Woodridge.
Here.
Judge Travis.
Here.
Squire Travis.
Here.
Squire Coppins.
Here. All right, thank you for that. We're all here. First item, or next item on the agenda is approval of the minutes. We have three meetings to approve the minutes on. We'll think we need a motion of each one. Is that right, Corey, or you want to do all three at once? All right, that sounds like we can do all three at once. So, what,
Are there any corrections?
we'll see.
Not just the only one.
We'll
Be clean.
we'll do one at a time. So anyway, I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes of February 6th.
I'll make that motion.
All right, we have a motion by Will,
Second.
second by Dan, to approve the minutes of February 6th. Is there any discussion, any corrections anyone sees we need to make? All right, hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion passes. Next is the February 7th special call meeting. Entertain a motion.
I'll make the motion.
All right.
February 7th meeting minutes.
All right, have a motion by Zach,
I'll second.
seconded by Will, to approve the February 7th meeting minutes. Is there any discussions or corrections? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion passes. Next, February 13th, special call meeting.
Motion to approve with any corrections or additions.
All right, motion by Jim, second.
Second.
Second by Mike, to approve the February 19th special call meeting minutes. Is there any discussion, any corrections? Anyone has? All right, hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Next item is a community from the county judge, and I always ask the magistrates if they have anything they'd like to bring up that's maybe part of the meeting a little later. Anything you guys got? All right. Thank you for that. I've been to a couple of trainings in Louisville and also on Zoom meetings, and I learned a new phrase the other day. It's called age in place, and it's just what it says. And I asked Kipta, which is in our ad district, if we can, we need to find out where the demographics of our community, how they are, where folks live. Of course, we want to make sure that we have good roads and to meet, everyone's need, but also want to say that there's even more to it than that. One challenge as we get older, we all will have challenges, and we have family members that have challenges as we get older. But I just want everyone to know that we have an extension office, we have a health department, we have a multi-purpose up on the hill, we have 7 county services, and then you have your government offices. If you have a neighbor that you think might need some help with something, make a contact to some of these offices that I mentioned. We're in the service business. All these places are in the service business to help out the residents and whatever type of needs that they have. And again, that age in place, it's just what it means is that people can stay healthy enough to live at home and to age at home versus needing to go somewhere else. And it takes some effort for someone that has needs to stay at home. But there are services that are there to help. KIPTA, for example, half of their entire workforce there, about 50 folks, I think, are in the business of helping people age in place. So if you see someone has a need, please let us know. One other thing I learned on a Zoom call, and they're looking for places to get these put together. For example, if we needed a van pool of folks living in Taylorsville or Spencer County going to the big truck plant or the other Ford plant or any big plant, KIPTA is wanting to set up more of these. And basically what it is whatever it costs to run that van for gas and stuff, everybody chips in and does it. But they're looking to set these up, and there's even companies that will pay to run that van so that people will show up at work on time. So if you guys know of any place that has interest in something like that, get with me and I'll get with the folks at KIPTA on that so we can hopefully do something that'll help folks out. So anyway, any questions or comments on any of that? All right, we'll continue to move on. First up on the agenda is Julie Sweezy. Julie, I'm sorry, I forgot one thing. I wanted to mention that we have a celebrity in our group tonight, and we have a Citizen of the Year, I believe, Mr. Jeff Soplin from the Spencer Magnet. And let's give him a round of applause. The Chamber voted him a Citizen of the Year, and we are very happy to still have a local paper that represents what we're doing. And again, I applaud you on everything I've read. It's been a good representation of what we're trying to accomplish, in my opinion. And just keep up the good work, and thanks for being here tonight.
All right, thank you very much, I appreciate it.
All right, now Julie, sorry about that.
No, you're fine. We have 3 second readings tonight. So I have the application of Gary Chapman requesting R1 residential to I2 agricultural on 1.18 acres located at 930 Wilsonville Road, which is Highway 3192. Commissioner Brown made the motion to recommend to rezone the application of Gary Chapman, requesting the zone change from R1 residential to Ag2 agricultural on a 1.18 acre tract of land and approximately 1.75 acre tract of land located at 930 Wilsonville Road, which is Highway 3192. The total acreage is 8.02 acres. The recommended land use map in the comprehensive plan recommends medium density residential. The change would be in compliance with the comprehensive plan, and there was no one present at that meeting to speak against it. Commissioner Travis seconded that motion. After roll call vote, motion carried. That is in District 3, Mr. Travis.
Okay. I'll make a motion to approve the zone change recommended based on the facts and findings of the Planning and Zoning Commission.
Okay, we have a motion by Jim. Is there a second?
Second.
Have a second by Zach that we approve the recommendations of the zoning on this particular tract. Is there any discussion? All right, hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion passes. Thanks, Julie.
I have the application of Roof Ranger LLC requesting Ag 1 agricultural to R3 residential on 2 separate tracts. Acreage on tract A consists of 1.48 acres, tract B consisting of 0.310 acres, located at 599 Bentley Lane. Commissioner Fowl made the motion to recommend the rezoning of the application of Ruth Granger LLC, requesting the zone change from Ag 1 agricultural to R3 residential on 2 separate tracts of land, tract A consisting of 1.48 acres and tract B consisting of 3.10 acres, located at 599 Bentley Lane. There will be a binding element on this property, so there can be no more than one residential on each lot. The recommended land use map in the comprehensive plan recommends low density residential. The change would be in compliance with the comprehensive plan. There was one gentleman that spoke up at the meeting, but once he heard the binding element they put in place, he was good with it. So Commissioner Brown seconded that motion carried, and that is in District 5.
I'll make a motion for the zoning change based on the facts and findings of planning and zoning.
All right, we have a motion by Will, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mike to approve the zoning of this particular tract. Any discussion? All right, hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion passes.
You are in agreement with that binding element as well.
Yes,
I don't know
ma'am.
if that's something we need to specify when we're doing it or not, but.
Does
The
the
next,
motioner and the seconder have any issue with adding that language?
No.
Providing element?
No, I believe it needs to be in there.
I mean, that's just part of what their findings and contingencies were to change it, so I just want to make sure.
All right, did you get that, Lynn? By everyone by general consent and do it? All right, we'll do it, go ahead.
Next, I have the application of Bernard McCutcheon and Amanda Snyder requesting B2 commercial to Ag 1 agricultural on 3 acres and R3 residential to Ag 1 agricultural on 5.68 acres, located at 2980 Briar Ridge Road, which is Highway 248. Commissioner Brown made the motion to recommend the rezoning of Bernard McCutcheon and Amanda Snyder, requesting zone change from B2 commercial to Ag 1 agricultural on 3 acres and from R3 residential to Ag 1 agricultural on 5.68 acres, located at 2980 Briar Ridge Road, Highway 248. The recommended land use map in the comprehensive plan recommends low density residential. The change would be in compliance with the comprehensive plan, and there was no one at the meeting to speak against it. Commissioner Mudd seconded that motion. After a roll call vote, motion carried. And this one is in District 5.
I'll make a motion for the zoning change based on the facts and findings of planning and zoning.
All right, have a motion by Will. Second. Seconded by Zach to approve the zoning change that Julie just read. Is there any discussion? I would just like to say that we just made a farm.
You
Right.
did?
We just created another farm,
Yeah. It's gonna be a bee farm.
a bee farm.
They raise bees.
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 So higher than agricultural.
Yeah. So,
We'll see that very often.
anyhow, all right, any other discussion? We'll proceed to vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Now, Julie, while we've still got you up there, we have a partial bond release request. And we'll get all information from you.
Well, I wasn't a whole lot prepared on that, but
Okay.
now, it is a very small portion of Nevin Lane that actually connects the original, phase 1, 2, and 3 of double crossings to the existing phase 4, so it's a small section that they are asking to be released. The new phase in the back, 5 and 6, will have access coming in off of Hostrasser, so they feel that, there won't be the traffic coming through double crossings, on Nevin Lane as had been in the past. So they have requested to drop that, road bond or letter of credit. I believe this is a letter of credit, just on that small section. It's not very,
Is it the
Very long haul.
.127 miles?
that's probably about all, yeah. It's very narrow, very short.
This is right when you turn into what the old new section of Global Crossing was, correct?
Yes.
Right before the four-way?
Yeah.
You go through the four-way, then the new sections back there?
Yes.
There's a lot of new sections out
Well, I
there.
mean, it only has maybe 3 or 4 lots that front it. That's how narrow, or short it is.
And of course, it's completed and it's met all the specs.
It's got a
Road
grand
foreman.
side, everything on the same.
And like I said, they feel like the next phase is gonna enter off of Hostrasser, so that's where most of your traffic's gonna come from. You'll still get a few people that'll straggle on it, but like the developer said, you know, they can tell people that's not a construction entrance anymore, do not come that way. But, you know, how can they really police it to keep people off of it?
All right, so for us to release, do we do that, Corey, with a simple motion?
I have questions about, so you said that there may or may not be construction use.
Right, I mean,
Yeah, 'cause
what it is, it does continue back through there, but for the new phase, people aren't gonna
Right.
use that.
Okay, yeah,
I
'cause
mean,
I'm just,
all
I'm
the
just looking
other-
at the ordinance from
yeah.
2021, it says that then you said streets are to be utilized for future construction phases. It will not, the bond will not be released until their completion. Do we have input from the county engineer as well?
We did,
Okay.
yeah, like I said, I wasn't prepared, I didn't know we were putting this here, so I'd have brought it back with me. But we did have a letter, you know, from the county engineer and the county road foreman. They're in agreement, I mean, they understand the situation here. And like, again, I said, the new phases have made entrances coming off of Hostrasser. That's why we made them wide in Hostrasser, was for the purpose of using it.
Yeah, basically this, I mean, it's already been taken over, this ordinance is where it was taken into the road system,
Right.
which it had 2 readings. So basically, they're just asking that we don't require them to post the security anymore.
Right.
So, okay, I think we can probably do that with a simple motion.
All right, I'll make a motion that we accept that to release the bond on Nevitt Lane.
I second that.
All right, we have a motion by Jim and seconded by Will that we release this small section of Nevitt Lane for the requirement of keeping the surety bond posted. Any discussion? All right, hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion passes. Thank you, Julie, I guess that's it.
I'll get a battery and clock.
All right, yeah, all right. Yeah, we're stuck at 6:45. All right, next is the
Probably better off we can't see it, Joey.
Chris. Chris, you're up.
I'll hire a clock.
Quick update on EMS before we go into the hyper-reach stuff. From January 1st to today, we've made 347 runs. Last month collected $89,794, bringing our fiscal year to date collections to $485,310. So that's just a little update on where EMS is at since the start of fiscal year and the start of this year. Hyper-reach, the system is built through the vendor. We have training this coming Wednesday, myself and Robert, the judge, and Brittany, on how to use it and to send out the proper messages. And then as soon as we have that training, we're going to start posting to social media and some other places to get some people to sign up and register for it. So we're moving in the right direction with that.
Yeah, now when you get all this done, everyone with an iPhone, it'll come to an iPhone without signing up, correct?
Any of the iPods alerts. We're waiting on FEMA to send us back our certification to send the iPods alerts. So as soon as we get that, it'll send to anything on the.
Judge, could you explain a little bit to the crowd in the back what we're talking about there? There's a lot of new people there, and stuff we're trying to reach out to.
Yeah, basically, if you all remember, a month ago, we had those tornado warnings, mainly over in where you guys live, over in that end of the county. And, of course, I turned it on WHAS, we had nothing. I was at the Waterford Firehouse, and the siren wasn't going. And, of course, I was notified we had a tornado in the county. So we talked, everybody get in their safe spot, everybody's running around. So anyway, after that, we decided that it would be important to have a system that automatically goes to your cell phone. If you're visiting, you're on the lake fishing, it'll go to your phone.
We can go to the landline as well.
Yeah,
You
but
have to sign up for that.
The subscription service will send it to landline, email, and cell phone. The iPods, which is integrated through the national alert system, like when your TV goes off or when your phone goes off for a Amber Alert or tornado warning you haven't signed up for, that is the iPod system that's ran through FEMA. So with HyperReach, we're going to have access to that, and it'll push out. We've got it set for tornado warnings, flash flood warnings, I believe it was severe winter storms. I'd have to double check. But, so that will send automatically through the iPod system. So anybody that has a cell phone within our geographical area, because the iPods operates off cell towers. So it'll send that alert to the cell towers. So whether you're from Louisville or Taylorsville or from Bowling Green, you're in Spencer County, at the time one of those links come through, it should hit your phone. I can't say 100%, but nothing's 100%, but it should hit your phone if technology works properly.
Right, the key word is technology works properly, but we identified a problem we thought in the county. The tornado sirens are 20-plus years, and they're not working the best. I think 3 didn't work that day, and we want to make sure that we felt we could do better than that, so we chose to go with this system, and it's getting off the ground.
So it will be a subscription service. It doesn't cost anything to subscribe to it. Just a few minutes to get on there and to, on a computer to subscribe to it. And it doesn't cost the citizen anything. And we'll push out customized alerts, like if there's a broke water main or boil water advisory, or like last week when we had 55 shut down for several hours, we could push that out through there, letting the general public know that it's we've got a highway shut down for extended time. So it's good use. It's a good tool.
So anyway, be on the lookout. It's up and coming.
There'll be notices in the paper. Hopefully, we're gonna try to get some notices up here on the water bill too. When it's available, so remind everybody.
Yep. All right. Go ahead,
And
Chris.
I think last time we had on our agenda, we had a resignation of Paul Eaglin, who was a part-time paramedic.
Okay.
Yes, between his full-time job and his family life, he was just kind of feeling, I hear they work-life balance is just not there, so.
We don't need a motion to accept the resignation, I would not guess. All right. Any other questions for Chris? We have, and I'll take care of them, we have some ambulance bids that I passed out on transmission bids. It's later in the meeting, so we'll take care of that a little later.
Thank you, Joe.
All right. Thank you, Chris. Next, we have, we go to the committee reports, safety committee, Dane.
Nothing to report.
All right, solid waste, Jim.
Nothing to report other than, if you notice, and everybody who lives in the county knows, there's trash along our roadways pretty heavy right now. From Taylorsville to Elk Creek, you know, it looks like a garbage truck opened its back doors up, and it's just, we can't get anybody to pick it up. And, I don't know, is there any further on the employment of the 2 part-time people we're gonna hire to do that?
Well, we've already established to hire 2 folks to do that. And I did look, when you mentioned to me about getting that picked up, of course, today I went out through there, it's pouring down rain, so, we might have a better time.
Expected you to pick it up.
No, I wouldn't want anybody to pick it up the other day when it rained 3 inches. I'd rather not. But anyhow, I'm aiming on getting, we can get our folks that we already have to clean up out toward Elk Creek, because it does look bad. But we did already vote to hire a couple people to basically do county duties, which would include this, which would include other duties that, of course, when the state sends out about 30,000, maybe, Doug, on litter abatement money, something like that, or did last year. That sound about right?
I hear how much we didn't spend, but it's
But,
not half of it.
and anyway, we're having trouble getting it utilized. Number one, school kids can't do it, you have to be an adult, just for safety issues, but anyway, we're planning to not send any of that money back this year. Plus, we have a lot of things going on in the county, so we did agree last meeting, one of our special meetings, I think, to hire a couple folks to get this accomplished on a part-time basis. So anyway, we're in the process of that. And later in the meeting, I'm aiming to put a personnel committee together that'll be able to take on some of these duties, you know, a little bit better.
Can I
Yes.
clarify, just so that I don't make a mistake, we're still gonna let groups sign up that want to
Yes,
go, right?
yeah,
Because I signed up a group today,
great.
and I've got 3 others that have called and asked, but they said they were gonna wait till March. You know, they're
Okay.
trying to wait for the weather to break. but I just wanted to make sure that I wasn't in the wrong, still signing people up and assigning them roads.
No,
No, any 501c you can get, bring them on.
Okay.
yeah,
A question, on the volunteer groups like that, do you have like a database of the school system of like every coach, assistant coach of every team that you can just kind of like shoot an email to them once a month and say, remember, you guys can still sign up for this, instead of them calling us?
Right, most of them I've told them to like our Facebook page for the zoning office, I usually post it on there, but I also send emails out to those that have picked up before, letting them know when we're ready to go. And really, we haven't set a specific time. Last year, any time of the year somebody wanted to pick up, I'd give them a road, you know, so I really didn't set it at a designated time that they had to do it. But I will, I usually send email to Michelle Stevens, she's in the front office of the high school, and she will forward it out throughout the school for me.
yeah. Karen Spencer and I went to training on solid waste last week. And, my understanding is it's ready to go now. I mean, there are things that we can do. If people throw couches out on the side of the road, we can go pick that up, or we can send anyone that works for us to pick that up, and we can keep up with the time, and it can go towards, some of that litter abatement money. So anyway, we'll be looking for opportunities. Number one, we have stuff to clean up, and number two, we don't want to send any money back.
Right.
So anyway, but yeah, we're ready to go. If you got a group ready to pick up, let them start at the high school and head toward Elkhorn.
These are nonprofit groups, such as high school kids, teens, and churches. We can't pay a group like you guys to go out and pick your trash up, and we can't pay nonprofits and county employees to do that, so.
What about inmates?
We've discussed that, and we're still in that discussion, but just not tonight.
Yeah, the last court voted not to have the inmates come, so. That's what it's done.
We're gonna see how successful we are this route. So,
Other counties do.
yeah. All right, anything else, Jim?
That's it.
All right, thanks. Veterans Committee, Dan?
Just a reminder, this Saturday is the chili cook-off for the veterans, and the other thing is, if some people may have noticed that some flags were at half-staff, other flags weren't today. So I found out from Jack Burns that there is a the state will send you a text whenever you're supposed to have your flags at half-mast. So I signed up for those today, and so I should be getting text or emails on that so we can stay up on it, because other than that, I don't know how you know when they're supposed to be at half-mast and when they're not, other than like on Veterans Day or Memorial Day or something. But so hopefully we'll be able to stay on top of it a little better.
Dan, I can offer to help you. I mean, let us know, or let them text us too. I had breakfast here locally, and the fella said, flags are supposed to be half, so I lowered them at the courthouses. But I haven't raised them. They're supposed to have been raised back up at sundown tonight. But we'll do better with that. And also the flags that are nearest my office, we've got new ones ordered. There's a tree there. When you put them on half-staff, when they whip, they hit this tree and it turns the flag up. So we're just going to tear up a new one if we don't trim the tree back, or you need to let them down. I mean, 2/3 staff is not proper. It needs to be half. So we need to trim the tree. Anyway, we'll try to stay on top of that. Is that it, Dave?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Zach, Equipment Committee?
We got a couple things. Of course, the ambulance is on here. We had an F-550 with an issue with the dump bed, the cylinder, where it mounts to the cylinder of the bed. It was broken, bent, so we need it fixed. That has been fixed. I knew should have picked the truck up today. And then, of course, the animal shelter's vehicle and patrol officer has got some transmission issues. We're still working on getting some folks for that. It's going to get those now, because they're in the court. So that's all I've got for now.
All right, thanks, and telecommunications, is Zach, anything to add there?
Nothing right now. Me and Brittany been working on trying to maybe get some updated cameras for in here and fix the audio and visual issues we got going on in here. So, other than that.
And I was asked to send a letter of a couple of cable companies, the one that was here last, or the previous meeting, Bardstown, and also Charter that's doing cable in the county. Well, they wanted just a letter of support so they could seek state funding. Well, I sent that in for both of them.
Bardstown Cable has reached back out to them too. They want to get, either with us as a whole quarter, just a couple of us, kind of go over and lay out the areas they want we want to try to make them go, because once again, they're not going to try to compete with Spectrum and bring out kids. That's why. If we want to go somewhere, they got to go through Spectrum or whoever to go through it, that's fine. They weren't going to try to fight for it.
Yeah.
So.
Well, we're really working hard to get high-speed internet to everybody. So that's in the works.
They was down Plum Creek in front of my house about 3 days ago, well, it's like Thursday and Friday, and they said they expect us to have it there by August.
Well, I'm going to speak to that when we got the Ashes Creek River here too. Y'all can get on to Bardstown Connector on Bardstown there, and fiber optic internet cable. There's a lot of your all's area that's already online and can be signed up. So y'all can be checking on it. It's not satellite internet, it's fiber optic internet. So.
Hey, one more thing.
Yeah.
A little more information on the chili cook-off. So it is Saturday. It's at the extension office. It's $25 to enter. It's $5 to go and eat chili. So, and all that money goes to support the AMVETS. So.
I think it's at the extension office at 7.
Yes,
Sound right?
7 o'clock.
All right, anything else, Zach?
That's all for me.
All right, next, Administrative Code, Corey.
We have a second read of ordinance change increasing the judge executive spending authority. But other than that, nothing to report.
All right, yeah, we'll do that a little later in the meeting. 2 years of Meeting Mountain Development Committee, Dan?
Nothing new, just what we reported on in the past is that they are looking at the wayfinding signs and also the dam celebration, which is coming up. They are selling T-shirts. For a donation, you get a T-shirt that says, "I'm a dam supporter." And and then the other thing is they're going to have a Frisbee golf tournament coming up probably this summer up at Tanglewood, and then next year they have a grant for a tough mudder competition, so we're having to work for that we can have.
All right, next, Animal Shelter Committee, Dan, again?
I think Jim got a report on that.
We can do that a little later, I have an
Later on.
agenda item.
We can do that later.
We made progress on that, and we continue to look at just checking boxes on it.
Yep, work in progress. All right, thank you. All next, Building and Grounds, Will?
You want to just wait until our new business?
Yes, we can.
I'll just wait till we get to.
All right. Yeah, on the county farm stuff. I do want to say here that the other day when we had that 3 inches of rain, they were sweeping water out of the recycling center. We've got a drainage issue there, but the only drainage problem we have is we need to take some rock down where the water will run away from the building. And I think we can do that. We can get our road guys to do that. And then also, I asked them to get the coroner's van out. We've got a brand new coroner van. I went around, the license plate is a temporary plate that expired in 2022 of March. So it's been sitting in the barn there for not nearly a year. So we moved it out and we took down the tire rack and we picked up stuff in the floor. And if you go in there now, the shop looks like it's twice as big because we cleaned all the stuff over. And we really don't have anything in there probably to surplus. I asked them today to put all those tires up off the new tires, put them up on top of the office. So if
I told them to go through them the other day when I stopped them there Wednesday and told them to throw away all the used tires in it. There's a bunch of used tires, take them to the road department, so we can do tire empty with them, and, just go through the new tires, they fit on a pickup truck, whatever we do, get rid of them, and like, we can get rid of them, it's not stolen, they're over there, they don't get stored and forgot about.
Well, I got a little different twist of that plan. There were some ambulance rims that had
Yes.
tires on them.
Yes.
Okay, and then they did say that they did put a set of tires on the red truck,
Mhm.
and we have these tires, and the pile is down a little bit. There was only one baloney skin tire that needed to go to amnesty, tire amnesty. The rest of them are pretty decent. So I asked them, I said, put the ones that we can fit on something, just put them up there. But then I think Chris spoke about the ambulance wheels, and I said, put them right by the edge, because he said every once in a while they'll have it flat and they'll have to change the ambulance tire.
Don't, the batteries don't, and they're in there. How old, do you know how old they are? I'm trying to figure out through the.
Which batteries?
The somewhere in the siren batteries, I guess.
Those might be the cords. The weather turned bad on us before we get the last we got a couple of sirens that you gotta have a tall ladder to get
Yeah,
to.
yeah.
So I think there's 2 sirens. Those are probably the cores that we need to return once we get those last 2 sirens changed. But Randy, the weather turned on us and we didn't have,
That's
most of it
fine.
was changed from the tailgate of a truck. But
I actually know how old they are, I just trying to figure out what we need to do.
Oh,
But
the
we
ones,
need
the
to
ones
use
we took out were, we didn't take them back over to that place, of course, but they were 3 years old in the spring and summer. So they're 4-ish years old now.
We had some radios in there that possibly we could use, and I asked them to set them aside. There's an old copier in there that no one says works. There's really nothing there to surplus. It's a bunch of junk.
bunch of just broken.
So before someone trips over it or something, I said, move it over here, and then we kind of done the inventory today, and probably by the end of the week, we'll have that bay open also, and the trip hazard will be out.
Also, I told the road department they had that fire safety cabinet, they need something to put their gasoline, they're supposed to be getting that. There's a half 55-gallon drum of oil, new oil, they're supposed to take that to the road department.
It might already be gone.
Yeah.
There's an empty pallet, looked like it had a barrel on it.
And there was some burn over there, supposed to take it for oil.
I think it's gone,
Yeah.
because the pallet's still sitting there.
I told them to get that whenever they got a chance.
So anyway, anyway, that's going on at the recycling center wheel, so we got it, it looks a lot better in there. So, that's one to mention that. Parks and Recreation, Mike, and I know we got an agenda item a little later, so just wait till then. All right, Farmers Market Pavilion, we'll wait till later. Jim, all right. That concludes our committee reports. We now start old business. First item is the Administrative Code Policy Change, second reading. That should be in the books.
We don't need to make a motion to approve the second reading.
He's got it.
Yeah, title and summary.
What's that?
Title and summary.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to read that.
Basically, the title and summary is to amend the administrative code to raise the judge executive's discretionary spending up to $3,000 from $1,000. And we had a first reading already at one of the 3 prior meetings. So this will be a second reading.
I'll make a motion to approve the second reading.
All right, we have a motion by Will, seconded by Zach, to approve the second reading of the ordinance that amends the administrative code, referring to the discretionary spending of the judge executive. Any discussion?
Like I said before, I think it should be 2,000 instead of 3,000, so I don't approve. I think set triple that we should start with this double.
All right, any other discussion? All right, Madam Secretary, if you would call the roll, please.
Squire Eldridge,
Yes.
Judge Travis,
Yes.
Squire Travis.
Yes.
Squire Cotton,
Yes.
Squire Stump,
No.
Squire Ferris,
Yes.
All right, motion passes 5-1. All right. Next item on the agenda is Waterford Park improvements. I'll turn it over to Mike.
Okay, so we got started with the stuff that we voted on at the beginning of the month. I got Todd down there looking at it. He got 120 feet of culvert pipe. The other day, he got that picked up from Bardstown. We was down there looking at it last week when we got that last big amount of rain. And that bottom, or the lower pedestrian crosswalk, that was just not draining at all. And the whole thing was just like a lake. We determined that 124 inch will be enough to carry the water that comes down through there instead of 2 wide, so we're taking those and we're putting them all in one line. They was down there earlier today. They have sawed out the asphalt and they're gonna remove that old crushed up culvert out of that lower crossing. And they've got some rock delivered, and they got it laid out, so I suspect tomorrow they're gonna start pulling that culvert and laying the new in there. They're gonna go about 5 foot lower towards the creek than the lower crossing, so we can attach onto it later if we want to. And it's gonna extend 120 feet up towards the ball fields. And then they're gonna get that crossing back in good working order so we can get across that. And then the plan is to take the ground that they scrape off of that parking lot extension, and they're gonna put that over that pipe. So there is gonna be some construction going down there. Looks like they got a couple loads of rock sitting there waiting to go, so things are moving right along, so.
All right, yeah, and probably for now, I know we voted to do 25,000 on this. We're probably in good shape for now, should you guess?
Yeah, so far, we're holding steady.
Yeah.
So y'all think that's gonna be enough dirt to fill that in, just from what you cut out of that parking lot?
Well, no, but it's not going over, that 120 feet won't go all the way either. And then what they're gonna, it's not gonna cover it all, but they got some more road ditch cleanout projects and stuff coming up, and they're gonna take that there to dump it on that too. And then, once they get this section done, then the plan that we're gonna propose later is that we're gonna buy some more sticks of culvert and just keep extending as we go, as we get filled, and just kind of keep working up the hill.
Well, this will, and another thing, of course, when you got that cut out and you put that in, you know, I know they can bring blacktop and roll it in, and they can make it where it'd be ADA ready to go as far as levelness and smoothness.
I think they're gonna do some kind of simple patch. I don't know if it's gonna be like cold patch or something they're gonna put in there for now, because essentially the goal is gonna be to remove that lower crosswalk completely, because we're just gonna have the one giant crosswalk in the center.
Yeah.
And then when that time comes, and then it'll be all good to go. Of course, the new crosswalk's gonna be all concrete, ADA compliant, and all that good stuff. So.
Yeah. But basically, for the folks in the crowd, at Waterford Park, that big grass area has a cable around it. We're gonna gravel that, so that'll be a parking space. Even when it's a little muddy, it'll work. So, all right. Any other questions on that? No action is required there. Any other statement, comments on that? All right. Next is courthouse repair quotes, and Will.
I talked to Randy, and the insurance adjusters still haven't been out, so I'm gonna give a recommendation that we wait. Maybe, I talked to him today, and we got a special meeting next week. Hopefully, we'll hear from them, and we can maybe just get it put on that agenda and get something done.
Okay.
I just don't wanna hire a company if the insurance is gonna pay for some of it.
Right. Okay.
And then Zach's working on a quote too, and I should have a quote next week for metal on the recycling center ceiling compared to the
bubbling insulation.
Wood, but it'll have to be pushed back to the next meeting, a special call meeting.
Do y'all have any appetite to go ahead and address doing the brick on the courthouse, or you want to just wait and do it all next time?
It's pretty cut and dry, so if you wanna get something started on it, we can.
Well, if you all remember.
Where are they doing, what are they doing at brick work?
On that old wall.
On
The old wall looks like it's going to fall in.
Charlie Fish.
Yeah, we had a bid. We can just discuss it. I mean, our next meeting's just 2 weeks away, so we can discuss it then.
I mean, I'm all for it, we'll move forward or not, y'all are,
Well, we had, All right, well, let's,
It was in
we'll do
there
it next
last
time.
meeting.
Yeah, it was in our packet last meeting.
I must have overlooked, we had a lot to talk about last week.
We did.
There's 2 bids to repair that side of the courthouse, but we'll just look at it before next meeting.
Yeah. We'll get it, oh, that's fine, we'll get it all together, next time. All right, next on the agenda, Darrell, you're up, if you'd like to come before us.
Well, I'd like to try to get approval to hire Andy Smith. The guy that was there, he's now with the sheriff's office, and we're doing a lot of transporting. Have y'all approved the jail bill for January?
Well, no, it's
Or is
coming.
it, is it coming? Okay, we had 98 inmates for January. 80 of them there was 80 transports. 45 of them was for court. Now, 37 of those court transports were felonies, so we can get state funding back on those. 29 of the transports was felonies. We get money back on them. But there's just a lot of people going to jail, and they just keep wanting to go for some reason. I guess it's good over there.
Get 3 squares on.
3 squares, a meal, meals and a place to flop, I guess is.
So, anyway, we have Darrell presenting to us to hire Andy Smith, and,
Andy had worked for you before, right?
No.
Okay. I was thinking he had.
I wanna get approval, and then I'm gonna do a background check and all that stuff before.
all right. Well, I'll make a motion that we hire Andy Smith for the jailer's department, pending all hiring requirements.
I'll second.
All right, we have a motion by myself, seconded by Will, to hire Andy Smith in the jailer's department, pending all hiring requirements. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those, excuse me, Mike, go ahead. Sorry about that.
No, you're fine, I was just thinking, me frankly, I think we have enough transport people. We don't have a jail. KRS says if he can assist, the jailer can assist in doing transports. And he can hire more people according to the KRS. However, according to the county records, this current sheriff's office employs 5 people listed as transport officers, plus Merrill, that's 6 people. And, cost the county better part of $170,000 last year. And I think that if they figure out a way to utilize their people a little bit better, then maybe them hiring another person may not be required, especially when the sheriff's office is taking the burden of the transports to start with. And I would like for you guys to consider that. It would be my position that to vote to hire a person to put in this position would be a misuse of county funds, and that's what I want to tell you guys before we proceed to vote.
Was it when we looked at, so did your, what is it, the deputy jailer? Who's on here?
Yeah, Darrell here.
Yeah, Tommy McGee has been helping. His dad, Russell, has helped. They mainly of the night. A large bunch of the transports we do is in the daytime. I went to Carrollton today, me and Marlene, to pick up a female. I'm going to Johnson County tomorrow, 171 miles one way. For court on Wednesday, of which we have 14 inmates to transport. We're gonna have to use 2 vehicles Wednesday because the van will hold 3 females and there's 5 females. You know, it's easy to say, oh, it's not that much, but it's a lot of running.
Where'd y'all go today?
Carroll County,
And how many did you pick up?
1
Female?
female.
Marlene couldn't do that by herself?
She don't feel comfortable doing that by herself.
That's what I'm talking about. We're paying 2 people to transport 1 person. And the stuff like that is all I'm trying to bring to the board's attention. It's not your fault. If you don't feel comfortable, you don't feel comfortable, but They would need to find
We're
some people
talking-
that are comfortable.
We're talking people that's not good people.
Yeah, I
This
know.
girl's already doing state time. The one we're going after tomorrow is doing state time. They won't even show up on the
These prisoners are shackled and they're in a confined space inside
Yeah.
the vehicle. I mean, it's not like they're.
The one that
they're just
almost
free
killed me
inside the
that time
car.
was in shackles and confined spaces.
I did this
Just had
job,
the screen open.
I did this job for 10 years, and I couldn't just, I just couldn't say, because I don't feel comfortable doing it, we just can't hire more people.
I made my motion, because basically we're not hiring a new person, we're just replacing one person with another person. So this is not
That's what I thought.
necessarily an addition.
Well, I understand that we was just replacing,
Yeah.
but I was.
Didn't we transfer a person to the sheriff's office?
He's gonna be a deputy. He goes to school in general.
But what I'm saying is just the sheriff's office just keeps getting more people, and really, we're not losing any employees. So our budget for salaries just keeps going up. It's not like we're maintaining status quo here.
Well, we established we needed more deputies.
Of course, this motion on the floor right now pertains to the jailer's office. So I do appreciate everyone's comments on, looking things over. That's what we were hired to do. That's what we were hired to do, and I appreciate all the concerns. So, anyway, we have a motion and a second on the floor. Any other discussion? Madam Secretary, call the roll, please.
Judge Travis,
Yes.
Squire Travis,
Yes.
Squire Cotton,
Yes.
Squire Stump,
No.
Squire Ferris,
No.
Squire Eldridge,
Yes.
Yeah, motion passes. Thank you. 4-2. Thank you, Carol. All right. Now, let's see. Jim, animal shelter?
Okay, I'll pass you guys out my latest and greatest.
All right.
Looks pretty good, too.
This is my hand-drawn, drawings of our new animal shelter.
You took a page out of my playbook, man.
And, anyway, I think we all agree this is what we're gonna do, so it's just a matter of getting this to, I don't know whether we advertise for an architect or engineer to draw it, or we just get somebody to draw it, draw it up and pay them. If it's less than $3,000, we wouldn't have to do it. But anyway, we are at the point where we're ready to go, hire an architect to make the drawing. So, however you guys want to handle that tonight.
Jim, just real quick, to go get mad, still seems like there's an awful lot of storage around this building.
Well, that's what we agreed to do.
Okay.
I mean, we can change these over and over and over again, but there's a certain point we have to come to.
You weren't supposed to write storage on there.
Oh, okay.
Part of that storage is large animals.
Here, hold on, cross that out. All right, we're good to go.
That was storage.
Okay, all right.
Now, I have
I
a
did
question.
that for the architect.
So the storage though, is part of that's a lean-to, right?
No,
Are we gonna store large animals inside?
yes, in the building itself.
I would suggest that maybe part of it be a lean-to.
Well, instead of changing the plan
That'd be like
right
horse
now,
stalls and put a big door out here.
we can always come back later.
Yeah,
And put a lean-to on it. I think what we need to do now is go ahead and get this thing going and keep it going, because we're ready to go.
I said a quick question, Jim. I'm good to go. So I thought the first part was 48 feet. I thought we was gonna make that longer. Where it's gonna be like 50-some feet.
Well, it was 44 to begin with, we made it 48, and then we cut the other one down from 48 to 24.
Oh, okay, all right. Yeah, I'm good. I'm ready to go.
Yeah. But we need to get, magistrate over in Oldham County, Brent Likens, he's an architect, and I talked to him. He's willing to, he said today he's willing to write it up, draw them up for us.
Julie? I don't think you got work where you leave without question.
I got caught. She told me we were sneaking out. I said, oh, I got caught. You're it.
Before, not to On this drawing, what we're doing here on this pole barn drawing, are we gonna be required to get architect stamp plans on this animal shelter that would be in a pole barn building?
I'm sure you will.
Well,
It's
I mean,
over
if we-
200
if we
square
get-
foot, anything over 200 square foot, it has to be stamped.
Okay. Well, I just know if we could go by, get by with the engineer steps, set a stamp plan, and get an architect. I know on an architect building, for a dwelling, you have to have an architect stamp. But for just a pole barn, it's just, normally you get by with just engineering stuff, engineering stamp plans.
I will find out for you, how's that sound?
Thank you.
How many square foot are we proposing?
32.
It's like 3,200. It's under the 5,000 for fire sprinklers.
Okay, I will find out.
Thank you.
Okay.
All right,
Thank you.
But anyway, I've got one guy that's said he's willing to throw them up, and I emailed him Dave and asked him if he could give us like ballpark figure, what it would cost to do the drawings, but I haven't heard back from him. I just did that today, so. Anyway, we're ready to go. Dan and I and Roger Moore have met a couple more times, and we've gotten, found out where we will have to, where the building sits, the gravity feed for the sewer, it's going to have some sort of a pump on the building itself to pump it up over into the pump station right across the road where this, by the high school.
So on that, Jim, Ray Jewell Park, if we are gonna put, sports fields in there, and we need to, before they put the sewers in, we need to make a decision on whether we're gonna have restrooms at that end of the park or not, because talking to the water and sewer company, they said that if we are gonna put restrooms at that end of the park, we're gonna have to increase the volume of the sewer coming out of the animal shelter and the park together into that. So it would require a bigger pumping station.
Yeah, I had called into Harold Compton, the sewer department, hadn't heard back from him. But we may be able just to like maybe put 1,000-gallon septic tank in there with a grinding pump on it, and just pump it over in a 2-inch line, over to the pump station. I don't know, that would be the easiest way to do it, but anyway, we've got that. KU is the electric company there, and the water lines, Harold's saying something, the water line for the building may have to come from the other side of the high school, across there somewhere. So we'll have to get a couple of easements for the electric and the sewer lines to go across other easements, basically. I did get Jamie Brown, our former county surveyor, is going to take care of marking the corners for us. He said he'd get those corner posts marked in the next week or so. And he said to tell you he would do small things for the county, but he was too small to do anything big. Something like this, I'll reach out to it. Anyway, so we're ready to go. So.
And I did talk to Charlie Tishner. I know we spoke last time about getting Charlie to do tile work. He said he'd be glad to
I
help
talked
us
to
out.
them, that's okay. I did get 3 quotes on, that's on the pavilion, we'll wait to do that later. Okay. So we're ready to go, so I'll go ahead and, do you think we need to advertise, in the paper for drawings of this? And then you can give this to them, and that way it's got all the information they need, other than, I'm sure they still have a few questions, call and say, what about this?
We got like a county website or something, we can upload that to,
We do.
Yeah, I mean, it's whatever you guys want to do, we
Oh, you want
can.
to advertise, but
I think we ought to advertise it and get 3 quotes on it, just for what it's gonna cost to do the drawings. And then we can vote on which one we want to accept, and then they can take it and do a preliminary drawing, bring it back to us, make any changes, and then come back with a final, so.
Are you okay with, if we advertise for, quotes for drawings, that they contact you guys with that meeting?
Absolutely.
And then you all can take care of it and then bring the information back to us? And we can put ad in, Jeff can get us an ad in the paper, to advertise for bids for the animal shelter, and that they would contact the committee to
Just give
for
them
the
the phone
specs.
number, Dan's phone number.
All right, well, since we'll be advertising, let's make a motion to advertise in the paper. All right, we have a motion by Zach, second by Dan. to advertise for bids for the animal shelter in the local newspaper, and that interested parties would contact Jim, Dan, and Roger Moore. And we'll get that worded for you, Jeff.
Okay. Yeah, just shoot me an email.
All right? So we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All right, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion passes. All right?
One more thing too, Todd did bring a couple loads of 57s and put on the driveway over there, so it's looking good. So that, I know we had, I'm sorry, to back up here, but, we had, our committee, we've got the title search is underway, the surveyor is underway, leveling out the lot's been done. The rock on the driveway's been done. We've talked to the city about the closest sewer and water hookups, talked to the electric supplier about hookup. Dan and I went to the city commission meeting last Thursday and kind of kept them in the loop on what we're doing. And maybe asked for some help from them down the road. So tonight we decided on the building plan and things are, so we're moving.
We're rolling.
Jim, do you think y'all get with Corey and see about those easements and all in the high school, kind of work that out? Start working on that?
I think surveyor does that, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, the surveyor would lay it out, but you would have to write something up.
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, I think we've already started that, we've had that discussion to go ahead. I think in the last meeting, we agreed that we'd go ahead and get that started.
Yeah, I was gonna talk to Harold today, but the water, it was a holiday for the city. So, he talked to me briefly after the meeting and about where we need to hook into the water lines. But, I need to get with him and have him show me exactly where that is, so we'll know where we need to get an easement to. So, I'll do that tomorrow. I'll get with him, I'm sure he'll be back to work and, have him show me exactly.
And, you know, I've got a plat of that land and it shows other easements coming off the same pole, actually.
Well, it is.
And they're just like 5 foot, you know.
Just y'all reach out to me, one of you, whoever, I get you Timmy Parker's number, he's had maintenance man over grounds and overall on that school. So
Yeah.
he can show you, have more interest where all that stuff's connected at the high school too.
Yeah, and I am really happy that the city, you know, you guys have reached out to the city and they have, they're open to helping us out, and this is wonderful. Wonderful, wonderful. All right, we'll move on then to Jim and Dan, Farmers Market Pavilion.
Okay. I got to figure it. Like I said, we've received 3 quotes on the appraisal of the 5 acres we intended to buy. One was $2,450, one was $2,100, and I'm waiting on a written quote, but I did get a verbal quote from a local appraisal for $750. So we're probably gonna go with the local guy when I get him, and we can do that at our next meeting. Dan and I and Roger met with Eric Bean with QK Ford and Angela Clifford at both properties last week to see if there was any problem with actually building either the pavilion or the animal shelter on that property. Eric Bean says, you know, we may want to do a hydraulic study for the pavilion to see what the 500-year floodplain is, so we'll know exactly how high we need to make that building off the ground. We talked to KIPTA, and I think I sent this email to all y'all, I believe I did, Jennifer Wilson from KIPTA, talking about ARPA funds. She said we could use the ARPA funds for the pavilion, but if we did, we had to meet federal guidelines such as, you know, not an environmental impact study, because ARPA is not part of that, but there's other federal regulations, like, you know, for fish, snails, bats, any snakes, anything like that, burrow grounds that we have to go through. So a little bit later on, we're going to talk about a different financial thing. We're going to talk about it, so we can go from there. So other than that, and I think we do need to, you know, we had a couple of drawings of a pavilion, of a building, and we still haven't, you know, set, you know, firm on that yet, so we still need to get your drawing, my drawing, and mix them together and come up with exactly, like we did now, we'll show exactly what we want.
Are you
Still
gonna
need
have,
to do that.
are you gonna have something like that drawn up for our next regularly scheduled meeting?
Oh, absolutely,
Okay,
yeah.
cool. No, I know, hey, I know you're doing a lot, and I tell you what, I appreciate you and Dan.
Yeah, I like doing it too, so. But no, yeah, I'll have some. But anyway, that's all.
That's Jim, yeah, Jim's forte.
Jim's the artist.
He's an artist.
All right, well, thank you guys for all your work. I know Jim and I talked, and he spends, 3 or 4 hours a day on this, and that's a lot of days. You said you talk on the phone sometimes 3 hours.
That's just on the phone.
Okay. But anyway, thank you guys for,
It's time consuming, but it's good.
we're all excited about getting the community something more. So anyway, all right, we'll move on to new business. Ms. Winkler.
Yes, sir. I'm moving a little slow, but I'm getting better. For the record, my name is Teresa Winkler. I'm here representing the Spencer Taylorsville Chamber of Commerce. The information in your packet, I think, is very self-explanatory, but for the public, the chamber tries to come up with ways to directly or indirectly impact the economy of Spencer County and help our businesses. We have made arrangements with Kentucky Shakespeare to be part of their Shakespeare in the Park series this year. They're going to be coming to Main Street on April the 15th. They're doing Hamlet. I had an English lit teacher tell me once everything you need to know about life was in Hamlet. The show will be free to the public. Tammy and Frankie Owen will set up their food truck so you can come at 5 o'clock, eat, bring your chair, and see a free performance of Hamlet. What I'm asking the fiscal court is we are going to get 2 porta potties, and that at a cost of $200
Each or for 2?
for 2.
For 2.
$100 each.
Okay.
From pest control over in Barstown. And so I want $200, and I want to use this room as the green room for the actors. I've talked to Julie Sweezy about it. I've also spoke to Maggie, who does the cleaning of this room. She says she'll have no problem cleaning up any extra mess that happens to be at no charge to the county or to the chamber. The city has waived their $100 permit charge and their $140 they charge to put up barricades. So they've done their part. I have no idea how big this crowd will be. Last year they did Macbeth in Portage, Indiana, had 45 people. The next weekend they did Macbeth in Sellersburg, and they had over 400. So it's a crapshoot. We'll find out. But it's something different, and it will bring, hopefully, people to Main Street so they'll realize the businesses we have in town. Because a lot of people that live in Elk Creek don't come to Taylorsville very often. So it's just a different way to try to promote downtown Taylorsville, promote the businesses we have. We are looking for a sponsor because Kentucky Shakespeare charges you $1,500. We're going to set a stage out here for them to perform on that we're getting out of Springfield. And the stage will show up on Friday, the porta potties will show up on Friday, and they'll all be gone by Sunday. So that's all I know. So I'm asking for $200.
What did you say, the one in where? Or, I mean, it's
April
on-
the 15th.
April 15th.
That's a Saturday night. We thought Saturday would be best, and that was the Saturday they had free. They go to Bowling Green, they go down to Murray State to do it every year.
They put on like Kentucky Shakespeare?
Yes, the same group that, actually Kentucky Shakespeare, for a little history, does the longest performing park Shakespeare in the country. We've done it in Central Park in Louisville every summer longer than we've actually done it in Central Park in New York City.
Cool. What, is it a musical or a play? I missed it.
It's the play, it's that play we all read in high school and hated.
Well, I told the teacher I read it, but maybe I didn't.
But I will tell you,
They didn't test you too hard, did they?
yeah, I will tell you, I do not enjoy reading Shakespeare, but seeing it performed live is a whole different ballgame. When I was 13, I went and saw Macbeth, and I've been hooked ever since.
I'll make a motion that we, pay $200 for porta potties and allow the chambers to use this room as a green room.
Second.
Do you know if porta potties will be accessible, handicap accessible?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm an old rehab person, I make sure everything's accessible.
All right, we have a motion by Will, and there's seconds all around. I'll just pick Jim, to approve $200 for the Shakespeare on Main Street and for porta potties, and also to allow them to use this room on April 15th.
Corey, are you, excuse me,
Yeah, go ahead.
are you thinking of someone that might come that would be in a wheelchair?
I just making sure they're compliant.
Yeah, and like I say, I used to work for Voc Rehab for 28 years. If there's anybody here that needs accessible bathrooms, if the porta potties are suitable, I will make sure they get what they need.
Okay.
Because these two restrooms will be open, and we can arrange that.
And that's what I had in mind.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
we'll take care of the crowd.
Okay, thank you, gentlemen, I
You
appreciate
got a
it.
vote?
Oh.
You can sit down.
Well, I just
I think
assumed you
you're
all was
good.
gonna say yes.
We probably will. All right, any other discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you, gentlemen.
You're welcome, thank you. Next, Mr. Mercer, Ashley Street.
Well, my name is Tom Mercer. Before I begin, I want to thank County Judge Executive Scott Travis, the entire Fiscal Court, for allowing us to present to you my concerns about dangerous roads in our area. Also want to thank our District 4 Magistrate, Zach Cotton, for his support. And I don't want to forget Deputy Judge Executive Brittany Vito, and if you'll carry that message to her next time you see her, Judge, I appreciate it. She has been very helpful in making me acquainted with the policies and procedures and practices of the fiscal court, and she's been very kind in fielding my many questions that I had for her leading up to this meeting tonight. I also want to thank my many friends and neighbors who have shown up here this evening to show their support and just demonstrate by their presence how important this is to them. I will point out we've even got 2 or 3 that are watching this via live on Facebook. So there's a lot of interest. If some other people couldn't be here, but they're here in spirit. Now, so you know a little about me, I'm a retired attorney for the Kentucky Cabinet for Health and Family Services. Spent a couple of years as a judicial hearing officer also for that cabinet. Since 1997 or thereabouts, over 25 years ago, my wife Barbara and I bought a home out on at 940 Lakeview Drive, which is what we call, what is referred to as the Ridge area along there in District 4. And that's what I'm going to be talking about tonight. The area known as the Ridge, if you didn't know, pretty much runs from where Highview Church Road meets up with Great Ridge Road. It then runs down about a mile and 1.7 to Hoagland Road. And there's a stop sign right there where Hoagland Road is. If you go to the right about another 0.4 of a mile, Hoagland Road becomes Lakeview Drive, right at the intersection there of a side road known as Dryden Road. And then you travel on from there down till you get to 3.2 miles from where we started. And that's Kathleen Riney's house, 970, I believe she is, I don't remember, but anyway, on Lakeview Drive. There's then, that's the end of the paved road. Then the road takes a jump to the left. This is gravel and dirt, and up a steep incline to the last fire hydrant on the end of that Lakeview Drive. And down, there's several houses out through there. A couple of them new. I noticed Mr. Riggs was here tonight. He's built a beautiful log cabin down at the end of that way. And that used to be a place where Bill Hardy owned the house, but it burned down. The fire hydrant there was too far away from his house for them to run the hose, so they had to get a water truck and run back and forth Miss Riney tells me about this because she was there at the time. Said it was a heck of a mess, because they had a lot of cars coming in, I guess volunteers and so on, as well as the fire department. And so unfortunately, his place burned down. But, so, you know, having paved roads, the road is very narrow, she couldn't herself get through to go down and warn Judge Ed Stroring, who had property up that way. He's in a nursing home now, but some of you may know him, but she had to take her ATV to get to him because there wasn't room on the road. My topic tonight, as the packet of exhibits which each of you have been supplied, indicates that I'm here on behalf of myself and my neighbors to request that the Spencer Fiscal Court get started with needed safety improvements to the main access roads along the ridge in District 4, which are Drake's Ridge Road, Hoagland Road, and Lakeview Road. And I'm asking to authorize a safety engineer to review and report to this fiscal court. I do that mainly to, one, I want to get you to start saying yes to sending us some help up that way. And, you know, we know what the safety engineer is going to come back and say. He's going to say there are found dangerous roads up through there. And especially when we have snowy and icy conditions, as you've probably seen if you reviewed some of the photos in my packet. Eventually, we'd like to see those main access roads widened to something comparable to the new Ashes, eventually now, not the new Ashes Creek Road, which is junction 2450, which is a dual lane road. We'd also like our two side roads, Thompson and Dryden Road, to be maintained comparable to the side roads that run off of Ashes Creek Road. We're starting with a request of the safety engineer just to get the ball rolling because of our many safety concerns. Now I'll turn your attention to the packet that I've provided for you in these exhibits, which begins with Exhibit A with the petition for safety roads signed by District 4 homeowners. Many of them that are here tonight, but there are others. In one short hour period, I guess, we met at a barn out near Hoagland Road and Thompson Road. We just sent out a little flyer asking people that are concerned about road safety to show up. And just based on that little meeting, no more effort than that, we had 38 signatures, and that's why I included that, to show you there are people there to put their name, their address, their phone number, their email, where they have them, to let you know that we need help. I also collected 5 letters of concern from people out there who either had wrecks or, in one instance, has something I think interesting to report that we've kind of forgotten about. The first letter of concern is from Kathleen Riney, a homeowner out there, as I mentioned. She's unable to be here tonight, but I know she's watching on Facebook. So, hello, Kathy. Miss Riney and her husband Jim bought their house at Lakeview Road about the same time as my wife Barbara and I bought ours. It's been over 25 years ago. She points out that when she first purchased her home, they would drive those 3 main access roads. They were dirt and gravel roads for the most part, especially once you got out of the Nelson County part into the Spencer County part. And there was no water back there, at least other than wells, cisterns, so people either hauled their water in or whatnot. Now, as she points out, which I can attest to as well, once we got water out there, we put a little group together, much like we did for this about the roads, to indicate to the, actually it was the city. We tried to get a city-county effort going to bring potable water out there. One of our members, Vicki Husband, had found out that there was water, there was grant money available. It was back there in the Patton administration. And so that really helped push us along. Well, we went and worked that, and because of that, we now have some of the problems we have today. But this is what progress is. In other words, we now have water back there. We now have paved roads back there, such as they are. So what do you think happened? We got a lot of growth that's come out that way. And I know Miss Randy has, along with my brother-in-law who's here tonight, did a little survey of those roads, of those houses, and she's come up with roughly 35 new houses that have been put in there since we've lived out there. And it seems like there's one or two being built out that way at least every year. I think Mr. Lee, Frank Lee here behind me counted 55 some houses out that way, so you can see the growth. That's since we started there. So you can see the growth. It's more than doubled what it once was. Well, with that increase in population and houses, that's put stress on those roads. And now not only do we have more homeowners and residents driving along those roads, we also have more service providers coming out there. That's put more wear and tear on the road surfaces and helps to erode away. You know these roads are not wide enough. She pointed out, she and my brother-in-law went along and measured the roads. And they measure anywhere from 96 to 173 inches in width. Now that's no more than 8 foot wide to under, 14 and a half foot wide. So it's pretty narrow. And we've got steep drop-offs. As she writes, in most of these areas, two approaching vehicles cannot pass alongside one another unless one driver puts their two right side tires off the road or backs up to a safe area or pulls into a driveway if you're fortunate enough to have one near you. This makes driving on these roads hazardous, not only for the people who live along them, but for the drivers of fire, police, emergency vehicles, delivery and service vehicles, our mail delivery driver, and our school bus driver, not to mention our precious children on the bus. Close quote. Now she describes how she had to swerve and drop off the side of the road to avoid an oncoming vehicle that was speeding along there. And Great Bridge Road, I think is where she said she had that happen. And so she had to drop off the side. She didn't see this mailbox there, so she sort of clips the knob of the mailbox. Brand new pickup truck does $1,200 worth of damage gouging down the side of her truck. She says she drives cautiously, but she's had other near misses when encountering cars approaching around these blind curves. We have 2 sets of blind curves, which I'll talk about a little later on the survey I did out there in the report that's in your exhibit package under G. She has talked to other service delivery drivers in our area, and to quote her, quote, a UPS driver once told me he had to run off the road to avoid hitting the school bus coming around a blind curve. I spoke with our mail carrier to see if there were any concerns. The mail carrier stated Lakeview Drive was the worst road on her route. A few winters ago, the mail carrier had to drop her tires off the road to get past the vehicle, got a tire stuck and was stranded. Now the local post office may not deliver mail to our area on bad weather days due to safety concerns. Finally, Miss Randy points out that in addition to the need to widen the roads, the paved portion of Lakeview Drive that ends at her house at 974 Lakeview Drive should be extended at least that last 10th of a mile to the up that incline I was telling you about, dirt and gravel, to the fire hydrant that people back there have to rely on for fire protection, and so that somebody else like Bill Harvey doesn't lose their house. We have some private property issues, I realize, in some areas back there, but you need a place for the bus to turn around. You need a place for the fire truck to turn around, or EMS if they got an address mixed up, and you need to do it quick. So that's a good place if you come all that way down and head up there. There's a top-up area there near that fire hydrant that would be good for that, and I sure would make Mr. and Ms. Riggs feel a little bit better about fire protection for their house and others. Exhibit C is a letter of concern from homeowner Barb Munson, who's here tonight. And she resides at 950 Lakeview Drive with her husband Jim, and describes how she was run off the road on a blind S-curve on Lakeview Drive about a year ago. She had to dodge someone that's driving too fast. They don't necessarily have to be going real fast for you to suddenly be on when you're coming around a dry curve, but we do have people that, like we do everywhere, that will drive too fast, especially for those conditions. She had to drop her tires off the road into an area that was covered over by grass, popped a tire. The place where she was sitting, you couldn't have somebody even come and repair the tire. She couldn't, or have somebody that wasn't enough room, so she had to limp home on that. Fortunately, it wasn't too far, but it's a long way to go on a popped tire. Letter of concern from homeowner Frank Lee, who's right behind me here. He lives on Thompson Road at 339, side road off of Holden Road, as I said. And he lives over with his wife, Michelle. He's described how the increased population and traffic in the area has resulted in him being pushed off the road by approaching vehicles on multiple occasions. Points out that has caused damage to the front end and undercarriage of his vehicle, and included a photograph which I have included with you that shows damage to his undercarriage and so on, attached as Exhibit I. All three of the main access roads are too narrow for two vehicles traveling in opposite directions, with at least one of them getting off the side of the road, if they can do that. But Mr. Lee points out in several areas there are drop-offs or areas eroded by drivers constantly pulling off over there, which make them especially dangerous. To quote Mr. Lee, quote, "I am concerned that someone is going to be seriously hurt on our narrow roads, especially when they are iced over on snowy days," close quote. His wife Michelle had her own close call, and that's letter Exhibit E, which resulted in costly damage to her vehicle near Holden Road and Drake Ridge Road. Coming home from work one night around 6 o'clock, she takes a right there at the stop sign at Drake Ridge Road and travels just a little bit. Along it comes out of nowhere a car, and she has to dodge off this road on the right. That's right near, I noticed as I was doing my survey of S-curve, and she drops off the side of the road, pops her tie rod. She hears a pop, her tie rod. She's got to replace those. This type of thing wears on people in the area. Frankly, they're fearful for their safety and the safety of their wives, their husbands, their children. As Ms. Lee notes, the narrow roads are a constant worry, she wrote. And they're lucky that's only been property damage as of now. There is a story about somebody losing their life, but that apparently happened years ago, and I haven't been able to nail that down, but it wouldn't surprise me. Every day the odds keep climbing that we're going to suffer such a great loss. A letter of concern from homeowner Kim Riggs, who's our last letter of concern is a relative newcomer to the area. As I said, she and her husband Vince built a nice home at 1070 Lakeview Drive, and up that gravel road. She writes, quote, "Although I haven't had an accident, it is a common occurrence for me to have to pull off the road for other vehicles. I've had to back up the S-curve on Lakeview Drive. You go check that out. If you know where Jimmy White lives at the rise as you come up on Drakeview Drive, check that S-curve. I'm going to tell you about that in a minute. But it's hardly safe enough to walk, quite frankly. Anyway, she's had to back up, as she said, to let the school bus go by one of the most dangerous places is a certain area on Drake's Ridge Road that has a steep drop-off where a car running off a narrow road easily could roll on over down the hill. We need a guardrail there. And she adds politely, thank you for considering my concerns. Something needs to be done. Now, when I first approached Judge Travis about being added to the agenda for this meeting, I was pleased to find that he already was working on something by which the county could address, at least in part, the problem with dangerous drop-offs in areas such as ours. As a result of his request that I help map out areas along the main access roads of the ridge where the road department could drop loads of gravel, I surveyed Drake's Ridge Road, Hoagland Road, and Lakeview Drive in my car and on foot, and produced the two-page report that is in your packet as Exhibit G. As you can see, I started down Drake Ridge Road after turning onto it from Highview Church and proceeded down to the stop sign at Hoagland Road. There I turned right on the Hoagland, proceeded to where it turns into Lakeview, and then from there to the end of Lakeview and that fire hydrant up near the Briggs house. Beginning on the left-hand side of the report, the first column I list in miles and tenths of miles the distance at which I found drop-offs in need of fill gravel as I traveled from the beginning of Drake's Ridge Road to the end of Lakeview Drive. In the second column, I list the sides of the road to which I am referring. In the third column, as additional location markers, I list the mailbox PO addresses of the nearest houses. And in the fourth column, I list any comment I deemed appropriate, such as the fact that a mailbox at that location did not have a PO address on it, or that there was a fire hydrant nearby, or that, in my opinion, a guardrail was needed, or that the drop-off was located within a blind and dangerous narrow S-curve, or that in one place next to the narrow road there was a very deep hole that was covered with grass, and I almost stepped in it. I was walking. That's where I'm talking about, this S-curve up near Chimney Lake. I was walking it, and I couldn't hardly see it walking along from the side of the road. And I noticed there was a big hole there, about 3 foot deep, and at the bottom of it was a culvert. If I'd have stepped in it, I might have broke my ankle or at least twisted it. If a car dropped off, a tire dropped off, it'd bust the axle, no doubt in my mind. So not every drop-off in our roads is real deep, but I'll tell you what, and you probably have learned this as experienced drivers, you all look experienced to me, that my dad taught me this early on, even a smaller drop-off, you drop your tire out there, and an experienced or panicked driver sometimes will want to try to whip that right back up on the road, and they do that at the peril of being caused to swerve right over into oncoming traffic. So we take all those areas of drop-offs because any of them could be an accident causer, but some of them are just ridiculous. Now, I've added 4 photographs to your packet as exhibits that each tell their own story. Photo H is, Exhibit H is a photo of a traffic jam on Drake's Ridge Road involving a school bus, police car, and a resident's red car. This photograph was supplied by Miss Riney, who came upon this scene while headed home. The police car is pulled over and is partly on Drake's Ridge Road, while mostly on a nearby driveway. And he's taking care of some police business. The red car is partly off the road, it's kind of in the middle, partly off the road and partly on the road, although it's not off as much as the police car that has the benefit of the driveway. And the approaching school bus barely has its wheels on the road, and maybe, I can't say, you judge for yourself off the picture, it may even be a few inches off the road already, but she's creeping along. Miss Riney tells me the red car went on through, and then Miss Riney, the police officer, had her come on through, and she said, I probably only went 1 mile per hour because I didn't want to scrape the side of a police car. Exhibit I is a photo of damage to the undercarriage of Frank Lee's car that I mentioned, him being run off the road on multiple occasions. It's fairly self-explanatory. Now, while Frank doesn't like incurring this kind of property damage, frankly, I know that he is much more concerned about the personal safety of his wife, Michelle, as she drives back and forth to work and elsewhere on our narrow roads. And she's reported in letter J, exhibit J, excuse me. Well, no, exhibit J is a photo of Spencer Taylorsville Fire Chief's car wreck on icy Holden Road. I had heard about this happened in 2018. I went to Fire Chief Nathan Nation. I said, Nathan, I hear you all had a fire truck. It turned out it was a car, it was his car. I said, I don't want to embarrass you or anything on this. I said, I know it wasn't your fault anyway, but he said, oh, that's all right. I said, if you can find me that photograph, I'd like to show it to the fiscal court. And he was nice enough, he found that one, he found this one, 2018, Rumpke garbage truck. Now, as best I can tell, from what little I can see of the surroundings of those photographs, and I think he did say it was on Holden Road, but it has to be that part of Holden Road when you get to that stop sign at the end of Drake Ridge Road, instead of turning right that's heading you down toward Lakeview, it's got to be the one that goes left. I don't know if any of you are familiar with that, probably Zach is, but that used to take you around to the old Ashes Creek Road before they cut that and created the new Ashes Creek Road. But, I didn't put any of that on because most of everybody that came out to talk with us all live up that other way. Now, that's dangerous down that way, and they pretty much just say the road should be closed during bad weather. But there are spots the other way, up the way we all live, where, like the one that Tim Ridge mentioned, that if you hit that drop off, you got a good chance not only of just going on down there, but like Nathan did, but also tumping over like the Rumpke truck did, because that's a very dangerous, and that needs to be addressed immediately. And then finally, the other picture was the Rumpke garbage truck that was turned over, and this just goes to show that, you know, there's so many vehicles. In fact, one of the homeowners out there, Ryan Child, I believe it was, lives on Lakeview. I saw him 3 weeks ago, and he said it wasn't so long ago, and one of the road trucks that just recently had. I didn't get any pictures or report on that, but I understand that one of the road trucks has had a crash out there. So it's just a dangerous situation. The last thing I gave you was this website capture of federal and state funds that may be available for you to consider at some point as, you know, you get into trickier parts of fixing up the roads throughout all of Spencer County, for that matter. One of our signees of our petition, a gentleman by the name of Gary Pooler, who's going to try to be here tonight, but I don't know if he made it. He said he might be able to get here, he's going to try. But he is an engineer, and the company that he works for has lawyers that work with him, and they told him about this federal and state money that might be available. And so I just thought, I tell you what, I worked with another group of people out there on the ridge to get that potable water into our community, and as I said, Vicky's husband found a grant, and so if we're lucky enough to strike it twice, I know that sold it to everybody, that we had some grant money, but you know, money is always hard to come by, we know that. But I respectfully, if I have not convinced you at this point that the county needs to begin work immediately on the safety problems with the roads in District 4 that are referenced here tonight, I ask each of you to vote yes on the motion that the Spencer Fiscal Court authorizes a safety engineer to review for safety improvements for Ridge's main access roads in District 4, Drakes Ridge Road, Oakland Road, Lakeview Road, and we hope that we get at least comparable treatment to the side roads for Thompson and Dryden, just like they have on that new Access Creek Road. So I thank you for your time, and if you have any questions, I'd be willing to try to answer.
Yeah, I appreciate this exhibit G that has these particular road areas. Yeah, Mr. Mercer came in and we were discussing, how to address, and of course, we have taken action already to, and I explained to him about getting some gravel and putting on the side of these roads where folks can pass. And I mean, your road is not unique to many, many miles of Spencer County roads. I mean, we kind of have, when I was out campaigning, I noticed we got two kinds of roads. We've got basically subdivision roads that there's one or two or three ways in and one or two or three ways out. And then we have our through roads. Of course, I know up around the lake, there's a lot of roads that dead end. You only got one way in and one way out. But anyhow, we have a need all over the county. And I mean, if we could wave a magic wand, we would get all this money that they have, and we would fix all the roads, and then everything would be wonderful. But we all know in reality that, that all can't take place. But I had some questions. You were mentioning water. Everybody has water now? Yes. We're focusing on water.
Everybody that wants it.
Everybody that wants it has water. That's great.
Anybody out there disagree with that?
Everybody has water. That's good. And I do want to mention, you talked about guardrails the other day when I was on that KIPTA meeting. They mentioned some different types of fundings for guardrails and things, and I asked them to sign me up and to get back with me. One other question that I have that will go along with getting things to happen on these places. All right, all these narrow places, there's probably two landowners. There's a landowner that owns this side of the road, there's a landowner that owns this side of the road. There's probably places where the same owner owns both sides of the road. And a lot of our county roads are as antiquated as a 10-foot passageway is all that's on someone's deed. And then others may say a 30-foot easement or, right away. And they're all over the board. And I'm guessing that some of the narrowest roads in our county, like y'all's roads, a lot of them just have 10 foot. So now then an argument comes by that, well, what does the county have the ability to maintain? So there's talk of the hill of the ditch. So you have a paved or gravel, you have where the ditch might be, you have what a mower might reach. So I think there's an argument to be made that whatever the county's been maintaining, the county can work on and continue to maintain. But then if you have one person that says, I own that, you ain't gonna touch it, then everything stops. So I guess I want to ask you and your folks that are here tonight and the 38 that signed these documents, if we wanted to expand the easements, if you guys would give some property for us to do some work and do some widening without giving all the lawyers, Corey, sorry to pick on you, giving all the lawyers, you know what I'm talking about. But if you were to say, yes, you can, and let's say we were to draw a document up, simple 2-page document that Mr. Will Eldridge agrees to let Spencer County Road Department utilize 10 feet of his property along Drakes Ridge Road, to expand and make the roads safer. Do you think you can ask all the folks if they would be in agreement to grant us that? And then it would be easy for us to move forward, easier for us to move forward with putting this rock on the side, You know, we have equipment, and I'm all about this. You can take one side of the road, and 3 of us here, or 4 of us, I have a mini excavator, 4 of us here have excavators. And I mean, you can take and dig off this side of the road and add to this side of the road to a bank. You know, you can't dump it in the creek, but you can dig on this side and dump it here, and then you could add some width in gravel. And then next time the road got paved, whenever that was, then we can make it a little wider. You know, if you take the expense of acquiring the property out of the equation, and the only expense we have is our road department working with our equipment and gravel, we can get a lot of stuff done within our means. So I guess my challenge to you guys is, can you all meet and discuss the willingness to help in particular areas, you know, especially these that you mentioned right here. You know, if everyone that owns property at these addresses would be in agreement of giving us 10, 15 feet on each side. Yes, sir.
I'm a professional land surveyor for 50 years, and it's my understanding that there's a state statute that gives you 30-foot minimum. That goes from the top and slope on either side of the 30-foot minimum. Now, I do know that any land gets divided in the county, you end up with 50 foot.
Well, I also know that there's some landowners that'll pull a gun on you if you get off on the side of the road.
I see it.
I do want to say, by the way, I have, and
Is that for a state road or a county road?
That's for any road.
I think it's a state road.
I think if you check it out, it's any road. If I
What's your name,
disagree,
sir?
Phipps, Timothy Phipps.
But anyhow, but thank you for that information. We need to check that out, but go ahead.
Well, I just want to say, because I know at least one of them is here, and I don't think the other one is, but I have had 2 people that signed the petition and say, well, they don't want to give up any of their property, and they have property along the side of the road. Now, whether they could be persuaded or not, and I asked the one, did he want me to take his name off the petition? We were emailing, and he and his wife, and I never did hear back from them. They wanted to be taken off the petition. Of course, it talks generally about wider roads, safer roads, all this kind of thing, not specifically taking any part of his property. So I'm sure we don't have 100%. We could try to work on that. But I'll tell you, when it comes to safety, and one of these 2 that I'm talking about, I don't know who owns, I know he owns one side of the road where this dangerous drop-off is, and I don't know whether he owns the other side of the road. If he does, you know, I know enough about attorneying, and I know our county does too, that if you know, when you're talking about public safety, you know, I'm the biggest there is for individual liberties and your property rights and all that. But at some point, we all have to be responsible to our fellow man too. And when the greater good has to be served, laws of eminent domain have to be called into. Yeah, but I realize that just adds money. That's less gravel, that's less asphalt, that's less engineering work, whatever.
Money and time.
I get that, but you know, I will do my part to go and see to what extent we can get that kind of agreement.
And for us to proceed would be easy, because, and I've already talked with a road foreman about needing to get up there and get started, because I mean, kind of the way we were going to approach it, you know, what we maintain and where people pass. If you just added a foot on the side of some places, or you made a pulling area where people are already pulling off, we added gravel there. I mean, if we just hit the easy spots,
right,
we couldn't get it done in 4 years.
Right.
But we do need to get started.
Right.
And I mean, my approach, and I'm one of 6, but my thought is that what we can get started on and get done easily, without resistance and without pushback and with agreement. You know, the folks that will agree, we can work there. Someone disagrees, we gotta let the dump bed down. Next person agrees, we can dump the bed back up.
So in other words, you want me to augment this survey report with with that kind of information, that's,
Yeah,
I
it would help us, with our research. I mean, I know if we were to hire a safety fella, and again, I'm not dismissing safety at all. I totally agree. I kinda feel like I know what he's gonna say, or she.
Yeah.
You know.
The roads aren't safe.
Well, but again, this is not the only road that we need to address.
I get that.
So,
I don't know if y'all have a form, you talked about, that somebody was whether we'll need, you might ask the county attorney, I mean, I'm not
Yeah.
telling you how to run the show here.
well, I'm sure they could draft a
But I
simple.
mean, if somebody was that way, you don't want me just to come along and say, oh, this is fine, but those, I could get it wrong.
Adding gravel
I
to
wouldn't
the,
lie, but I couldn't.
adding gravel to the shoulder of the road is one thing. But taking out a blind curve, you're gonna be digging in somebody's farm.
Right.
That's different.
Taking out line curve and, one, get the civil engineer involved, moving utilities, water lines, checking on easements, possibly purchasing land, whatever, giving here, taking away here, it turns into a whole other ballgame, a whole expensive ballgame
Right.
pretty quick.
Right.
Go ahead.
Now, I have a question. I heard there's going to be work back there on the water lines again, that you're going to make a bigger, line going back through that area?
We can't, we're not in charge of city water.
Okay, I heard it was a rumor. If they're going back there digging up and doing water lines, making them bigger, so they're, to cover the people living back there now, why can't they do any road work right over those water lines? Because those water lines are going right through those people's property. They're not
The
going down
city
the
has an
street.
easement through them people's property.
Yes, ma'am.
That ain't got nothing to do with the county road.
No, if the water line is going through simultaneously, if the county just goes over and then pays where those water lines went in through.
Well, a lot of times they don't want to pave unless a line crosses the road. You don't want to pave over the line because you have to dig the road up and repair.
Well, at least you're getting into your gravel, I guess, maybe.
Well, the biggest issue is with what our concept is so we're city and then we're county, and the city has their own easement. That's two different entities. So we can't get on there, we couldn't tag on to their easement.
So they have an easement, but you all don't.
We have an easement on what the road is. Wherever that road is, however wide, if it's 8 foot, 10 foot, wherever that road is. So when these roads was put in back years ago, they wasn't the county that go around here and buy that 8-acre tract. The farmers, the people who own that ground got together, they gave the county that 10 foot, 8 foot, whatever that width is. And here you go, here's your right of way to get through, get to my neighbor to get his milk out, whatever that was. Now then over the years, common concept is that the county roads are 20 feet, 30 feet from the center line over whatever. That's not the case. If you look up on your old deeds, if you look up on what the county road says, a lot of these roads, most of them are owned by individuals, by landowners.
They go to the center of the road, the property
Yes.
line, on almost all the old county roads like that.
Yes.
You look on your deeds, it goes from the center of the road, 25 feet or whatever. So, and we can't go on private property now
Yes.
and do that unless we get the okay from.
Which is what I was suggesting. And I mean, if half of the folks that lives up there agree to let us come in and do some work, we'd be busy till the 4th of July and not get done.
Well, I mean, that's why I was saying, wouldn't you rather have a form or something that I could get and have them notarize?
Yeah, that's what he was saying. We would get the county attorney to draft something. And we would probably, all we're really asking you to do, we're not asking you to actually go get signatures. All we would really be asking you to do is be talk to your neighbors, your friends, and say, if you're willing to do this, then please come speak with Todd or Scott, and come. Once that gets done, then we can go.
Or you.
Or me. And then we go over to Corey and then we sign.
We get something lined out. And I mean, this approach is not unique. I mean, this is the same approach that I've had in my mind for the last year, is how to address places, is to get the landowners to agree.
We're trying to address the same issue up in Elk Creek and hitting it with Washington Lane, same issue. There's a narrow, dangerous road, the backside of it being developed, there's 700 houses going in. And it's an access road coming in and out, and we're trying to, same issue, we're trying to work with those people out there to, get easements to widen that road out. It's kind of.
On Normandy's a state road, it turns into a county road. You're at the bottom of the hill along the Shears Creek there, they call it Rivals area. All right, it's a narrow road, then it starts up a hill, and there's been accident after accident, and two people can't pass because you fall off the road, Jim, you've been through there. And, you know, I've spoken to the landowners nearby there, and the fella said, yeah, I'll give you some ground. You know, just haven't been able to get around to get that place fixed, but, you know, it's the same perception.
They're all over the county.
Yeah, they're everywhere.
Well, I tell you, it would help me, I need to get that form from the county attorney, because when I tell them something, I want to be telling them what's true, not what I think I understand or what I think I know, but what they would have to be agreeing to, you know. And
You know, our former county attorney did have a one-page agreement like that we were going to use on Washburn Lane. So if you look back in the records, you can, I can find it. Just give them the property owners, give the county permission to work.
And then is there anything I can get you to say specifically yes to tonight?
No.
Yes, you can say no, right? All right, so,
yeah, I'll tell you, yes,
You'll try, I mean-
we want to work and make your road safer.
right.
And we all agree that they're narrow up there. I did some work for Kathleen Brownlee, and I had to take my semi back to her house like 3 times. It was a little nip and tuck.
Yeah, there you go.
But,
Yeah,
you know, I think we're all committed to doing, first step is to try to work with the homeowners to get the property situation lined out, and then we'll try to get the money allocated and move forward.
And I know we can do it the hard way, but the hard way always takes longer.
Right.
So if we can, I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
But pretty much you're committed, as soon as I start showing you people that are saying yes, you're pretty much committed to start putting gravel on.
Well, that's all right. We would have already been there. I wish we had already been there, starting with the rock, but we've had, just lay it down. But we've had trouble, like Zach was talking about that truck earlier, had brakes underneath. And then the rains, we take our snow blades and push people's driveways back off the highways with our snow plows. And then every time the wind blows, these ash trees fall. We've spent days cutting trees out of roads. But anyway, it's on the agenda.
We're not gonna say we're kicking it down the curb, we're not trying to tell you all that we're band-aiding it, we are going to work on it. We are committed to getting the road department up there and getting it moving forward. And our plan was to already have them up there and in action, just like anything else, just hasn't happened just yet.
Our very first meeting, when this body met, the very first meeting, we moved $100,000 into the road fund to have gravel to start projects just like this.
Well, you know what they say, first come, first served, so I'm gonna get a copy from the county attorney, and I'll be getting them right back to you as I get approval. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
I think, other than the thrill and excitement that we've been enjoying, I think most of my people would just as soon have a chance to head out now, if that's all right with you.
Yeah, y'all.
That's fine. In fact, we'll take a 5-minute recess.
Actually, surveyor, are you still surveying, sir?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You know what, I can tell you, seeing this.
Fiscal does. Oh, yeah.
And I'm right, it's 2 years now.
Yeah, you're welcome. Yeah, thank you.
Take care, nice to meet you. Oh, okay. Are you stumped
I know people were about to start talking.
You know what
Only 2 years down the road. Oh, yeah, yeah. Yeah, you roll all the way down, you're gonna get water in there.
When I pull out the morning, I'll rise
But they didn't but didn't take the 1 year off.
take care of the right to see you all.
It's a senior. The kids are all 55.
So if I can make this all 5 years.
Well, think about me. You're all watching. I am not.
So if you had to perform any constable duties, you know, exciting. You
know, I had to come to Taylorsville last to find out that schedule. I can't remember which brother it was.
and he wanted to
Showed me also where he had the books. Unfortunately, you did
because apparently he had lost a conference and they said that you all could have county, you know, you could have county taxes. My brother.
There, I found out the studio was a member of
Because of transportation department. No.
Take care of it. I'm gonna try to have you see them sometimes. That's myself.
Yes, maybe you'd like some, purchase vehicles. Big you could put. Used to come back with that every couple of years.
Well, I mean, you know.
I heard it, man, I heard that.
Make a cake for the others.
Mike to the table.
All right, I'm back, y'all start.
All right, it'll go quick from here.
Pretty much, yeah. Next on the agenda is the fiscal court, what does in the back there, but anyway, fiscal court audit. I've got a final report basically hanging on the wall there. I guess we'll need to move to receive the audit. Is that right, Corey? Or will we?
I had a question.
Y'all did? Go ahead.
The look in the packet, I guess, yeah, are we gonna post that on, you said it's on the wall?
Well, I've got it on, yeah, we do need to post it.
I think it's a newspaper, gets the.
Yeah, it gets put in the
press
paper.
release,
Right.
But
Okay.
you don't have to make a motion to it.
No, yeah.
I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's also not complete.
All right, anyone have any questions or concerns about the audit?
Is there any problem with it?
I don't think there's any comment.
No, basically they said, I've got it on my wall in there, I've got it highlighted, what they said was, I think 116 of 120 counties do it like we did it, something like that. So,
Must be doing it right.
so anyway, yeah, it was a good audit. And we will post that, Jeff, we'll send that, something to you in the paper to print. All right, we have, next is a budget amendment, first reading. Doug, I'm gonna turn that over to you, I guess. You have your book?
We get where I sit. We're basically looking at doing first reading to put some money in the general road, the opioid, and the jail funds. We're basically taking the money that we had deposited in the general fund for the opioid to start in case anything comes up. We're just budgeting right now what has come in. We know there's some other revenue accounts, say like the ambulance, some of our tax accounts and all. We're gonna get more money, but if we haven't received it yet, we cannot amend it yet. Now, if we knew we were getting a grant and had a letter saying we've been awarded that grant, they would approve our budget amendment to do it. But since we haven't received anything like that yet, that's why we're not amending anything like that. We know there's maybe a good possibility of getting some grant funds, but it also may be in next year's budget by the time we get to that. So we are over 21,000 on real property tax, 1,800 on the bank franchise, and those accounts that are listed there. I mean, the majority of the money that we are amending is still surplus money, and a lot of that is the ARPA funds that we have in the account. So, but we are looking at it, looks like on the general fund amending $1,236,240. Road fund, we're amending 32,800. Road fund is hurting a little bit right now if you look at the cash balance and stuff like that, but it'll be back looking better once FEMA ever makes payments to us on a lot of this work we've submitted probably 8 or 9 months ago now. But even like on Spears Drive, it took about a year before we got the money back from the state on that. The jail fund, we are amending $217,530. We probably budgeted a little short on the jail fund last year. When we put together the budget between fees going up, and there has been a lot of prisoners this week, I think, in the last year or so. And the $105,000 for $341.17 is what we received opioid money back in December. I know there's been talk we're getting more, but I'm not sure how much, and truthfully between now and the end of June, I don't know that we'll spend this $105,000 anyway, but, cause right now I don't know if even Corey could tell us for sure what we can spend that money for. Cause,
or how much we're getting on the new rounds.
you ask 3 people, you get 3 different interpretations, and I don't know. And technically, we just put the increase and decrease in the expenditure accounts, basically in reserve transfers in the general road, and then put it basically in the housing contracts. That's where most of our money that is spent in the jail fund is on our housing contracts. And then set up a account line for opioid expenses when they come in, so. And I'm sure we may look at, as we get into the budget process for next year on the opioid expenses, once we know more on what maybe it can be spent on, it may be, 4 or 5 different line items, we'll put that, kind of recommend that money going toward, but right now just labeled it opioid expense.
Yeah, and I know we did vote to put all that in its own account, we'll be getting that done.
And I will make note too that some of this money was, first reading was done on a budget amendment back in December. Between everything going on and the change of administration, I don't know if we didn't send it to DLG or what happened there, but we did, it's got to be approved to DLG before we do second reading, so, they have to approve this before it comes back, and I don't see any problem why this won't pass, because all the money has been received, we'll have supporting documentation to send them on it, so.
So anyway, we don't have to take action on the first reading, I don't think, So anyway, any questions for Doug on this, on the first reading? All right, we'll move on. The next item on the agenda is approval to bid out the county farm. I don't know, Will, you have anything to add to that, or would you like me to cover it?
No, you can cover it.
All right.
I just had the same thoughts.
Yeah, basically, the county has property that they typically rent out every year, and it's been used for agricultural purposes. And we just need to approve bidding it out again. I don't have the acres of what it is, but we'll need to advertise in the newspaper, so we'll have to pay for that, I guess. And we just want the community to submit bids by the acre to produce agricultural crops. And, that they'll follow all the FSA guidelines for conservation and so forth, but only be for a 1-year deal. So,
Last year we got $2,424 is what we got.
yeah, off the ground.
Yeah.
And I really feel like it'll fetch more than that, just for bidding, for farming purposes.
I make a motion that we open up a bid for the county farm, price per acre, published in the newspaper.
For 1 year.
For 1 year.
Second.
All right, we have a motion by Will, seconded by Jim, that we advertise in the paper to bid out the county farm for 1 year, and the bids be by the acre. So any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion passes. Next on the item is building committee recommendations. I know we've had some discussion, but Jim and Dan, y'all go ahead.
Well, I passed you out this sheet here, everybody, of possible uses for a pavilion structure. We've all got this somewhere. There's about 24 or better things that I just came up with that we could use it for. I know Mike's drawings on that didn't take in some of these. Some of the drawings that I made didn't take in some of these, but I think we need, when we decide on a building, we need to look at this list and get us, build a building that we can provide as many services as we can in it. So, other than that, that's just information. Me and Dan and Roger, we get together, we talk, we come up with some ideas. One of the ideas we came up with was we pay for the animal shelter, we buy the land for the 5 acres for the pavilion, and we pay for the pavilion out of our general fund. And then we borrow $1 million from KCO if we can to supplement that. And that way at the end, when this is all said and done, we don't have to use any ARPA money for these projects. And what that does, that relieves us of all the federal regulations that we got to deal with the ARPA money. And Jennifer Wilson from KCO, I asked her that question, and she came back and said, yes, you can do that, as long as you use it for regular government operations. So we can use the ARPA money that we've got now to pay for our general operations of the county, and then we can use our, flip it over. And then at the end of, if we borrow the money to do all these projects, these two projects completely, and then we use the ARPA money up, we're getting away from deadlines the ARPA has put on us to spend it. And so there's a lot of good reasons why we should do this, or at least look at it. A way to do it, to get away from all that regulation and stuff. And we can get it done a whole lot quicker. So, something to think about.
That's a good idea, I think it's a good idea to get past
We-
red
you know-
tape that always slows everything down.
You know, if we borrow the money, say if we borrowed $3 million from KCO for these projects, and then when these projects are all done, at the end of our terms, what money we've got left over in the general fund that we could use to pay back? Like, we might want to pay back $2 million of that we borrowed, and not just keep it, to use it for the county, because then you put the county in debt, for things you really didn't, apply for or whatever. So, there's several ways we could do it, but, that's one of them.
Yeah, go ahead, Jim.
But anyway, and one more thing too, while I'm thinking about it, if you would, Scott, the driveway going back to the animal shelter, that's never been taken care of as far as mowing the grass along each side of the driveway. It's up in weeds like this now on both sides and littered. If you get the
I've talked to Todd about mowing all that back through there.
Well,
I want to mow the whole road all the way back to the bridge.
Well, there's not really a road back through there. It's just
it's gravel. There's gravel part of the way.
You can see it, but I'm talking about just by the dollar store there where people come into that entrance.
Yeah.
If we could get the parks department to add that mowing strip there to their agenda, if you will. So, and then that plank fence right there beside that driveway, I believe that belongs to the dollar store, and I've talked to the people at the dollar store, they're gonna get the management to sit the car into it basically. I guess.
Yeah, it fell down.
You got
Run down.
So anyway, they said they were checking that situation. That's all. Just got Dan, you got anything?
Yeah, just for clarity, were you saying Kipta or Keiko?
Keiko.
Should have been, Kipta. Yeah, Jennifer Wilson, Kipta.
Jennifer Wilson's Keiko was where we can get the money from, loans. Keiko.
All right, well, Jim, thank you for that. Next item on the agenda, I would like to create a personnel committee, and I would like Will to be chair, and Mike and Dan to sit on it, and also Brittany. And because I want to get this committee seated, so when we can discuss, when we get applications for, potential new hires, it'll have a committee to go through. So I'll just, I'll go ahead and I'll move that we accept the creation of this committee, these members. Second. All right, have a motion by myself, seconded by Zach to create this personnel committee. Any discussion?
So this will just be for hiring, people.
Yeah, when
We also potentially use this, I know we've had some discussion about some changes to the personnel code manual, whatever it's called. But, could this committee also start looking
I
at
think the
that?
committee would be in charge of anything pretty much personnel related, other than the actual hiring and firing.
Interviewing people,
Yeah.
looking over their applications, make sure they're.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's an additional set of eyes and another process, which, who likes creating more processes, but at the same time, they're necessary. Government.
And then,
So-
I'm not sure we'll get too many applications. No, and I assume this committee, I guess, is also there, I guess, in case any personnel issues arise, to kind of like form an opinion on that, to bring it to the court, I assume.
Yes, I would, my intent is that it be anything personnel related, of course, you have privacy issues, but, as we do with all committees, pertaining to to certain things, you know, according to the KRS, so. But anyway, yes, it would be basic, you know, included but not limited to, you know, interviewing folks. So anyway, any other discussion? All right, hearing none, all those in favor of creating this committee, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. All right, the next item on the 7I was about this, the job description of this. Anyhow, this is about, you know, hiring a person that it should be called the Tourism Economic Development Project Coordinator. And we can choose to, if you guys are comfortable with voting on that, so we can go ahead and take applications, we can do that. I hope all of y'all have seen what we kind of got laid out in here. You know, or if the Personnel Committee would like to discuss it more, we can do that. So it's kind of up to you guys.
I'd say let the Personnel Committee dig into it and come back with a recommendation to the court.
Or, I think the job description, once you get what's been laid out there, I think it's pretty well spot on, in my opinion.
I think it is too, but, the salary, I don't think for $17 to $20 an hour, you're gonna find anybody. That was the thing about
The work at home, hybrid, remote.
it's gonna take a salary equal to what Brittany's making, or maybe a little less.
Well, I was looking at that, that's an awful lot of hats for one person to wear. You know, well, I mean, for that amount of money.
If you pay somebody, say, whatever, put in.
But I mean, it's, yeah, we've already had some interest in this.
Does it say
I
hybrid in there
think,
somewhere?
I think the hybrid remote, where they can work from home, is what's gonna sell it.
There's plenty of people that work
Is
jobs.
that listed in there somewhere?
What's that?
Is that in here somewhere?
Yes.
At the last line.
Oh, wait, let me scroll down a little more. Oh, there we go.
I say that, we could go ahead and approve this and see what kind of,
Basically, if we get a pile of applications, the committee will be the first to.
And then if we get a bunch of applications and none of them look like the person we want, then we can always go back and say, okay, we're gonna amend this to make it a little more attractive, yes.
Right, you know, you can always make it, you can always, you know, up it.
So we may get some applications where somebody says, I'll do it, but I need this.
Right, and then the committee can make those type of adjustments. I would recommend.
I know recently we discussed, two things came up recently, that, we wanted this person to maybe work with Brian and sports associations. And then if this pavilion ends up moving forward and coming to fruition, we want to make sure that that person is in charge of scheduling that and entertainment and whatever should happen there. I just want to make sure that this verbiage in here covers that.
That's the intent of this position, is to do that.
Okay.
We probably need to add like EEOC language as well.
What's that again?
EEOC language to it, if we're gonna be posting, equal employment opportunity, just making sure that, you know, we're doing.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I mean, I can say it.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else, Corey? On that?
Are you gonna put any education requirement on this?
We already had that discussion, and I think we got it covered enough.
You're gonna get a resume, so you can.
Yeah.
I just didn't see one on you.
It's in the middle there.
Well, are we doing, I'll put it up for a motion.
All right.
I'll second the motion.
We have a motion by Zach and seconded by Dan.
That we, job description for the physical or economic and tourism development. I guess we'll just be the development project coordinator, there it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There it is.
Yes. Tourism and Economic Development Project Coordinator.
You still in there, right?
Well, close enough.
You got any?
Include EOC necessary.
Good enough.
I'll get it off.
All right. So anyway, all right, we have a motion and a second.
Yes.
Any other discussion?
Well, I didn't see anything specifically listed, high school diploma or college or anything on there.
I think those are things that we can, When we're looking at applications and stuff, I mean,
They're all being-
I hate to say some kind of college degree, because you have people who have a lot of talent that don't necessarily have a college degree. It doesn't make them the ideal person for the job, but I do agree that maybe they should have a high school diploma or
My personnel policy, I think you have to have high school diploma.
Okay, well, that covers that.
Yeah, my only concern is some of this stuff here, somebody who would have a degree in marketing or something like that would be, could we agree that that might be something that may be required for this being, so we're gonna ask this person to market the entire
And
county?
what I envision this person doing, I mean, they're gonna be busy. They're going to, when the softball teams approach Brian and want to line up the parks, Brian's gonna say, okay, call this person. I mean, how much time is that gonna take a person to do? And think about what that's gonna take off of Brian. Brian can work getting fields ready and doing that stuff and not necessarily doing this.
Yeah, no, I'm agreed that this absolutely needs to happen. I just know that the other hacks of this, which is to market the county, bring business to the county, I don't know if a degree would be an asset to have something in marketing or something like that.
Well, we gotta start somewhere, and when we take applicants and we do an interview, you guys do the interview process, y'all can put your punchline, so forth together. I do agree that, we should have some language here that's common, like Corey said about the equal opportunity employment, and then also, high school diploma or equivalent is required, I'm sure. But anyhow, so any other discussion? We'll go ahead and get going here. All right, hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion carries. All right, ambulance transmission repair, I passed out some bids to y'all ahead of time. And the ambulance right now is sitting at Weir's. And you can see, if you look on the front page, what they were bidding, and then of course there's documentation. I wrote on there trying to match up the one that's hard to read, but Atlantic over in Shelbyville had the cheapest, and then we had other prices there. And then anyway, so we actually have 4 quotes here. If any of y'all would like to go ahead and move on one, and we can go ahead and get it fixed.
Is the ambulance able to drive on the
No,
road?
you gotta be hauled.
Gotta be hauled.
Towed or hauled.
Well, Weir's is the highest one of the bunch, so, what's it gonna cost us for a record service to pull it somewhere else?
I don't know, that's what I was just
Well,
wondering.
surely you can get towed for less than $1,700.
I would guess a few $100 from,
$300-400 maybe.
from Weir's, which is,
Where's
where is it
located? Where's Weir's?
Whoa.
That's the only one out of all these I've ever heard of.
Something you're not get a post, no, got a local?
well, I think he looked at it. And
I
had a
wanted
higher
to see
price.
you could do it cheaper than what some of the
Well,
prices we were told, but then
Um,
maybe he decided he couldn't get it in his shop, I don't know.
But anyhow, these are the ones we have before us tonight, if y'all want to take action
I
on them.
will make a motion that we use Jeffersontown Transmission, Atlantic and it's Shelbyville at a cost of $5,022 for the repair.
Well, do we need to throw in the language there, you probably ought to
Plus
add
the tow bill.
something for the tow bill.
Plus the tow bill, yes. So up to $5,500.
I'll second it.
Sure that ought to cover it. All right, we have a motion by Dan, seconded by Zach, to approve fixing the ambulance at Atlantic for a cost not to exceed $5,500, which includes the towing. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion passes. The Ford truck order, I don't have any information. If nobody has any, I'll just pull that. We're on short roads, folks. Next, we have the invoice, bills, and transfers, and the financial statements.
Motion to approve the bills, invoices, and transfers with any corrections or additions.
Second.
All right, motion by Jim, seconded by Will to pay the bills and approve the invoices and transfers with any corrections.
I got one question.
Yes.
Well, otherwise.
All right, any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of paying the bills, say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion passes. Do we have any citizens left? Charlie?
He's wore out.
Charlie, how's Dawn at it? First of all,
She's doing better.
She home?
I got home Wednesday.
Got home and she's
She's doing
good.
better.
All right.
She just texted me, said, you still there?
She's about you down.
I know we've heard a lot of questions about, right of ways tonight. I just asked you, Jim, how much right of way have you got in to get into that besides the dollar store?
I think it's 50 feet.
Huh?
Yeah. But if I look on it,
Between the dollar store property, their fence and that fence up there?
I think it's 50 foot right away.
What's my rule around?
I'm going to look at,
I just wondered.
the plan, we do have a deeded, but we do have a deeded right away now too.
Yeah, we own.
Whether it's 50 or 30.
We own whatever it is, we own. Out to the highway.
It was on the plat, but of course, the courthouse, they printed the plat out on this kind of paper, and even with a magnifying glass, I cannot read the number.
I think we own part of the dollar store entrance and they have the easement.
I think
Because what he's saying, when you look at that, it don't look like there's but 15 feet maybe.
I'm talking about, after you get back there so far.
Yeah.
I drove back there the other day to go look at it.
Well, there's two posts where we could have had gate or cable, but that doesn't necessarily mean that's the, line itself.
We've heard a lot about easements tonight.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
I got something real quick.
Mike, go ahead.
I'm approached by Randall Jump the other day when we had all that rain. There's an issue on Delta Road where that culvert goes under, in between, Holbrook Judd's driveway and Keith Martin's
I know
driveway.
what he's talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah, he already cornered me.
Yeah, well, he cornered me too, but we went down there and looked at it, water was running over it, and it's washing away the asphalt essentially on one side. So something's gonna have to be done. I talked to Todd, and I think we was in agreement to, weather permitting, as soon as it gets, we're gonna take that out. It's just got like an 18-inch culvert in there.
Yeah.
And we're gonna put a 48-inch culvert in there. Something that won't get stopped up. There's a lot of water that funnels down off that.
It is.
Off the Waterford Lake there, so I just wanted to make the court aware that
Yeah.
might be coming. I tried to call you, but you were busy.
We can do all that in-house.
Yeah.
All right, that sounds good. Anybody have anything else?
Motion to adjourn.
Motion by Zach, second by
Me.
Will to adjourn. This minute available and amendable and only requires a majority vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion passes.
Turn your mics off.
Please.
Fourth part.
We're ready under 3 hours. That's one in there now.
When's our next meeting, Mark?
I saw the dollars